tweet as much as you want. We have all of the, and I know not all of you can see it, but mine is KamiChat, KamiChat, and Len Cannon, who is to my left here, which all of you should know, and if you don't, but Len Cannon is with KHOU 11, and he is one of the broadcast newscasters there. So tune into him. You know, you guys got to get on the air and see him, like the other air, 4 and 6 at 4 and 6 p.m. Excuse me. We can't leave that out. 4 and 6 p.m. I actually have that in my notes here. And anytime online. And actually, we'll talk a little bit about his online video here in a minute because it's going to be part of our talk today. And Rakesh Agarwal on the left, and you can catch him at the Taj Mahal. We'll talk about that in a minute. And also at snapstream.com, he has a really cool product that is basically a DVR for video for companies. We'll talk about it in a minute, a little bit, but he's going to talk more about how his product is helping people create those amazing memes. You know, the ones you go online and you see the people and they keep doing the same thing over and over again. You can thank Rakesh for that. He's in charge of those, or his clients are. Anyway, so we're going to get started right off. I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. And are we online? Okay, so I'm going to say hello to the people out in the viewing audience out there. It was really foggy today, so probably a good idea that you didn't drive. But if you did, it's great to see you here, the ones of you who went through the fog. We're going to talk about video. And why is video so important right now? I'm going to start with a softball because I feel like I want to understand from your perspective why you think video for the masses. I mean, you've been doing video for a long time, but for us, creating video, why is that important in 2016?
Well, our world is video because that's part of how we sell our product. It's a major part, predominant part of how we sell visually. It's important, I think, for you guys because it's just another layer of communicating with people on the web in a way that is a little more intimate because versus a text or something that you email or something that you're putting on Instagram, if it's video, it suddenly becomes very personal. It's you. It's like versus talking on the phone, to seeing them in FaceTime. They can see you, they can see your facial expressions, they can hear the tone of your voice. I think all of that brings it to another element. That, it's quite frankly, you can't repeat that in any other way except in video. And of course, in this day and age where everybody has a camera, it helps our business because every day on the news you see something ridiculous or crazy. It goes viral. Did you hear what the guy said if he won the $700 million jackpot or the 500? Did you hear that? Nobody won. But it was just this moment of honesty. It was in Vegas. A reporter said, "What would you do?" When he said, "Hookers and cocaine," right? See that? No, it wasn't high school. But that translates better on video than seeing a text or something. You know what I mean? That's like, whoa, hey. So that's all I have on.
Cocaine and hookers, yeah. I mean, I see what's happening right now as video being a part of a broader trend, which is one of visual culture. Just by a show of hands, how many people here have used emojis in sending messages to people? Right, like not everybody does. But like even this year, I think my parents have gotten into it, and I see my mom send emojis, and I'm like, come on. But that is part of this trend of visual communication, and I think that it is changing the way we communicate. And video is, I think, the next step in that progression. One of the top apps in the App Store right now is Kimoji. Does anybody here know what Kimoji is? Eric knows what Kimoji is. I got him on a Kimoji. Oh, come on, nobody here knows what Kimoji is. So you guys are all like, 30 and above. But emoji, I'm not kidding you, is like it's a gift. It's a emoji keyboard from Kim Kardashian. I urge you to spend the $1.99 to go buy the app and install it on your phones. But no, I mean it's a real trend. If you go to 10, 15-year-olds, they communicate visually, and I think that if great romances were written in the past in text, that in the future those things will be communicated visually. I think that in a way, when we communicate with each other, we can now almost tap into somebody else's visual cortex by sending them an image. It's becoming that conversant to share images, and video is a part of that trend. It engages us, and so I see it as a part of a broader trend.
So along that line, and I think it is a trend, it's really important, and I'm assuming nobody in this room wants to get known for cocaine and hookers, per se, but what I do think is interesting is how you can grab attention. I actually tweeted a little bit ago some stats that I saw. 65% of executives say that they visited a vendor site after they watched a video. And 39% said they called them after a video. And so I think that's really interesting that, even in business, on the business side of things, it does grab your attention. It's interesting and grabs your attention. So along that line, how do you make a video that's successful? I mean, what are the elements of a successful video in your mind? Because certainly, a lot of businesses aren't super exciting. They're not, how do you make yourself exciting? How do you grab an audience's attention? And Lou, you're great at that, so maybe you start.
Well, when you talk about businesses, television news functions, what pays the bill is advertising. Okay, commercial. What's a commercial? It's video. It's the business's way to connect. One of the biggest events every year in this country is the Super Bowl. One of the biggest parts of the Super Bowl are the commercials. Okay, that's something produced, put together, intended to grab an audience. And everybody talks about it, they tweet about it, they go on and on about it. So in terms of having a business create video, there are degrees there, because for advertising, for commercials, that is an agency that is hired to come up with a concept and put it together. So what do you do just on your own? I would suggest, first and foremost, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Don't drone on. Come up with thoughts on what you're trying to get across. If there is a way that can connect culturally with people, then use it. Whether it's putting on a Darth Vader helmet and talking about, you understand what I'm saying? It's like you're dialed in. Oh, this is what people are talking about now. Oh, Darth Vader is here to talk about, whatever the product is. All right. So that's an example of trying to connect with what people, where people are, and you don't have to be a cinematographer, okay, to make this happen. But you have to think about being creative and real. Nothing is more annoying. You ever get a text and you're like, is this an email? A delivery? What is this? So the same trap can get you with video. Just because it's video doesn't mean it's 5 minutes long. 30 seconds. We have an app called Videolicious at the station where we can promote. Say like if I wanted to promote this event, so I take a little video of you, a little video of you, a little view, and I can edit it and say, here I would say canopy and and I go to a picture of different people. It's 30 seconds. So you want to keep it brief, you want to keep it tight, you want to find something to make it as relevant as possible. Now, without knowing the specific business, it's hard to go beyond that, but in a general sense, that's it.
So I think that good visual storytelling is like square one. So that's a lot of what Len was talking about. One of the realities now of video is that we live in a world of autoplay, and there are ways to tune the delivery of your video to take advantage of autoplay. And I see a unrecognized but very effective technique in some early savvy producers of online video. One of those is overlaying text on top of the video, because then without the user on Twitter or Facebook clicking the video, the viewer gets some value. In fact, I've watched many videos without even turning on the audio, and I can do this because they're leveraging text on top of video, and that's really a new technique. There are kind of two ways to do this. One is to actually produce the text, bake it into the video itself, overlay it. There are a couple of examples of this. You can go look at Nowthis, Nowthis. Those guys, if you look at their growth curves, it's unbelievable. And I actually think that local TV stations should copy Nowthis in terms of the delivery of their clips online, as opposed to just taking what's broadcast on linear television and putting it on Facebook and Twitter. But overlay text is key. Nowthis is a good example. Another example, has anybody looked at these new cooking videos that are coming up? Yeah? Tip Hero, TIP Hero is an amazing one on Facebook. And they do these videos. They're like 30 seconds long, really tightly cut. Good editing is key. But I watched one of these videos and I'm like, wow, I could totally make that. If they add a button that would let me buy the ingredients and have them delivered to my house, I would be doing that all day and all night. I mean, and I probably, of course, when I make the recipe, I'm probably dropping ingredients on the floor in the kitchen. But I think that that technique, text on top of video, is a winning strategy. I said there are two ways. The other way is to upload closed captioning with your videos when you post them on Facebook. That's not just good for accessibility, but like the Daily Show does this. If you go look at the excerpts from the show that they put on Facebook, when you scroll through it in your timeline when it autoplays, you'll see text below the video. And I mean, I'm sure if I measured my engagement on those videos, it's 10 times higher because of the transcript, because it'll go by. I'll see a talking head, but I'll actually see, oh, he's talking about, Donald Trump new advertising. That's interesting to me. I'll click it. Or I'll just watch it in autoplay with the text streamed by on the bottom. And Facebook has an option for that where you can upload a transcript of the video. Twitter doesn't have that for their public native video product. Oh, and by the way, the other thing I want to make, I want to emphasize this. I kind of take it as a given now, but you have to upload your videos to Twitter and Facebook natively. It has to be native. If you're uploading to YouTube and linking to that, forget about it. Your videos are, in the trash. Honestly, you need to upload that stuff natively. Facebook actually has said openly that they give a higher priority to videos that are uploaded natively in their algorithm when they decide what to present to you when you go, because they don't do it for any artificial reason. They do it because those videos get engagement, right? People stop to watch those moving pictures.
Yeah. It's really interesting that you're saying that, because I think that kind of brings us to our next topic, really, which is really around live video and how live video is kind of taking over. So Periscope, Meerkat, LabIM, and there's people in the audience that do a lot of those, as well as periscoping. We're going to talk about that a bit, and then of course Facebook Live, which is not available to everyone, but Lou gets it. We're going to talk a little bit about it, because actually, I think in the next month or two, many of you will have it too. So I want to talk a little bit with you about how you're using live video to enhance what you're doing with your other newscasting. And we shared one of yours on our page yesterday, just to kind of give a flavor of it.
What did you share? I was just curious.
Yeah.
What about the
face for the people in the audience, so you can hear me otherwise. On your Facebook page, you often interview people like live with Facebook Live. And I went on there and I grabbed one that you did with the Girl Scouts, probably there for a regular story, but then you did a sidecar kind of story with your Facebook page. So how are you using Facebook Live video? I also saw you riding your bike. I didn't do that one, but that was cool too. And I was like a little worried you were gonna like crash while you were like filming yourself riding your bike. But those kinds of things are interesting because how do you show a little bit of your personal side in there? So can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, from being a newscaster, what we have found is I could post all day about crime, and the feedback is minimal. It has to be a topic that engages people, that interests people. If I put a picture of my daughter on Facebook, the likes go through the roof. I put one on me, and these are just pictures, doing her hair or trying, through the roof. So there's this, people like to see behind the curtain, so to speak, everyday stuff that we're doing, that you are doing. I asked about the Girl Scouts because I couldn't remember the context. I interviewed these Girl Scouts who were at the Wreaths Across America event we do every year. We get about 15,000 people come to the Houston National Cemetery to lay wreaths every December. Huge, huge event. And so Boy Scouts come, Girl Scouts come, and I asked these girls, who are you with, where are you from, why are you here? This was not live, but I just recorded it, and it's an element that people like to, click on and see it. As for live, what we've added is a Facebook Live element, Facebook feed, where, for example, the night that I emceed or moderated the final mayoral debate for Houston between Turner and King, we did a Facebook feed where I'm standing in the studio live and say, hey, and so you can take an iPad or an iPhone, and we record me talking, and I can, you follow me, whoever's taking the pictures or I'm taking the video live. I show the audience, they wave, say, here, coming up in about 5 minutes, we're going to have the mayoral debate. If you have any questions, send us an email, reach out to us on Facebook, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The other Facebook Live thing that we do is we get on and we talk about an event. Now, I did a commentary on a 9-year-old boy who was shot dead in Chicago. This was about 2 months ago. And I did a commentary on air about where was the national outrage over this kid's death, okay? And so, make a long story short, it got like 2 million hits. Totally unexpected. But when I did a Facebook Live about that, about why I did it, you can watch comments come in live. And so I can look at the comments come in, and I can respond in real time. So, oh, David, thank you for your comment. Well, this is why I decided to do the commentary, or whatever the topic may be. So it's a really nice, people love it. They see you, they know you're live, but we also put this, it's on my Facebook page and it's on the KHOU Facebook page, which is great because our KHOU Facebook page is like 700,000 likes. So you have all these people suddenly, potentially checking you out live and asking you questions in real time. Now, the video is also archived, so people can go back as if it were recorded and watch it and then comment. So people love it because it's this instant interaction. Now, I'll be going to the Super Bowl to cover, mainly because it's in San Francisco this year, but Houston has it next year. And so we're kind of focusing on, the committee from Houston being there and what they're looking at and what to expect. And so I'll probably be doing some live Facebook feedback on Nob Hill or something with, telling people here's where I am. And those are perfect opportunities, by the way, in terms of what I do, to be out in the field and show people where you are, what you're doing, and then ask them questions and they respond. So it's phenomenal.
I want to ask you a question, Len. Have you had something from a Facebook Live video go on the air on television, where you basically take in the conversation you've had on Facebook Live and put it back on television?
That's a very good question. No, because I think the goal is television. What we do on television, it's 30-minute increments, except for the morning show. All right. So you've got a finite amount of time to deliver. There's a format there. So it's hard to take a 10-minute conversation live on Facebook, because it would take 5-10 minutes to really get it going, people to even find you and start reacting, and then take that and put it on TV. It just doesn't work, just in terms of time. You know, we do a 6 o'clock newscast, and it's, you know, you minus sports and commercials, you're down to maybe 17 minutes of actual news or less. We do an hour at 4 to 5. That's the new thing. But even with that, there's potentially so much going on. And it lives better on the web as opposed to watching TV, unless it's really compelling. Now, is it possible? Yes. If you get this back and forth that's really compelling, would we do it? Yes. But they actually like to separate it. So, oh, look on the web, this is what we do. Oh, and by the way, we're going to be talking about this particular story, so you'll see in a package form on air. So you're trying to cross-promote. Could you put it on? Yes. But it had to be pretty compelling. And I could see it happening at some point, but you have to make it fit somewhere.
Yeah, I think that the thing that I would say, you know, I'm a technologist, and I follow, you know, the arc of lots of different technology categories, and I'm an investor in a bunch of tech startups as well. And I think that live video is in its earliest stages. So the discovery problem that you're describing, like that, hey, it takes time for people to like jump into the stream and realize that it's out there. I think that part of that is a aspect of this technology being, you know, brand new. I want to share one story about Periscope. I'm an early adopter of Twitter. I was on Twitter in 2006, I think it was. That's when I started using Twitter, and I got on Periscope when it came out. And this summer, I was with my family in India, and we went to the Taj Mahal outside of, you know, in India. And this is, you know, this beautiful wonder of the world. And I was, we were about to enter, and I noticed on my Indian cell phone that I had like full bars of 3G access. And I was like, this is awesome. So I decided I would Periscope it. And I turned on the Periscope, and I think in the first, and I walked inside, seeing it myself for the first time in about 15 years, along with, I think it came up to like 5,000 people live. It's spread it's in the morning in India, so it's like evening time over here in the States. And it was an amazing experience. The hearts were incredible, but also you know, there were people on the stream that were like, this is like a lifelong dream of mine to see the Taj. And there's no doubt lots of videos out there that show the Taj. But the immediacy and knowing that, like, I am walking there on the other side of the world as somebody here in the States or somewhere else in the world is seeing it live, that creates a different connection with the viewer. Periscope went on and profiled the video for 24 hours. I got, you know, a couple thousand followers on Periscope, and it was viewed about another 50 or 60,000 times. It was cool. I'm famous on Periscope. Not really, not at all, but it was fun.
And we are scoping this right now, right? You're scoping this, yes. So you can follow Rakesh. What's your Periscope?
This stream is on the Snap Stream Periscope.
Okay, this is not Snap Stream, so Periscope Snap Stream. Okay, so if you guys want to check out what's going on right here, right now, and completely crash the canopy Wi-Fi, you go for it. Yeah, I was going to say it's already probably done. There's too many people in this room with too many devices. And speaking of that, I will kind of say thank you to Rakesh because he's letting me use his hotspot today. And I always have to use a hotspot because I cannot compete against you guys for the stream. So that being said, I mean, these live stream things are really beginning to have an immediacy thing. And I mean, honestly, eventually I can't see everybody walking around watching live stream all day, every day, because I mean, there's just, you have to work, you have to talk to your family. And even when you were at the Taj, how did your family respond to you, like walking around the Taj with this amazing experience? Like, I started with having like a 5,000 person Periscope conversation. So my family would be really mad at me if I did that, just so you know. It'd be great to hear how that goes, but how does this work into our personal lives is very interesting too. So I want to talk a little bit about GIFs now, and just sort of like taking video and reusing video and kind of chopping video up and using it in different pieces. You know, there's a lot of text still. I mean, Google is still looking at text. You can't search you can't search a video yet, you know, for the text. So can you talk a little bit about how people are using video in these small snippets? And I guess I'm going to go to Rakesh on this because this is sort of his area. Sort of the GIFs and kind of explain what those all are. I don't know if everybody here knows exactly what that is, but let's start with that.
I'm glad you didn't ask me how to pronounce the word, right? Because that's like, it's like a big controversy. Is it GIF or GIF? It's GIF. But no, the guy who invented the standard says it's GIF, so it's GIF. Yeah. So you're asking, you know, sort of what are GIFs all about? Yeah. What's the secret to creating effective GIFs? Yeah, I mean, I think that in a way, you know, I was talking earlier about the secrets to playing to autoplay. I think that in a way that GIFs exploit these characteristics that play really well on our mobile devices. They're silent. So, you know, they're brilliant for autoplay. You don't need any audio to experience them. By definition, they don't have audio. So, you know, if a GIF is going to be successful, it's got to work silently. And so it's a silent moving picture. So I think that's at its core, in a way, it's sort of this weird thing that happens to work really well for how we consume video on these screens that we all have in our pockets, that we spend a ton of time on. And I think that's the why. The how of GIFs. You know, my company makes this product like a DVR. How many people here have a DVR at home? They record TV, watch TV, record it on a hard disk. Only a couple. I'm surprised, where people are busy eating. Yeah. How many people have a VCR at home? I'm really curious. Eric, come on. A couple people still have VCRs. Yeah, so I mean, we make a product like that for businesses. If you've ever watched The Daily Show now with Trevor Noah, all of the TV clips on the show come from our software. So we have this search engine that lets you find TV clips. And in the last year or so, the fastest growing usage of Snapstream is so that TV shows and presidential campaigns and political parties and media watchdogs and other people that have an interest in things happening on television use Snapstream to live tweet and live post to Facebook from television. So during the presidential campaign, you know, there will be some delicious soundbite that happens, and the savvy campaigns will take that moment, put it into a GIF, and put it online, and you'll get tons of shares and views and all of that. So so I think that you know, the best practices are you know, once you get into GIFs, like how many people here have like traded a GIF with somebody before, right? I mean, lots of you. So you just have to sort of get keyed into what turns people on, and it's got to be short, right? The format only allows for the videos to be short. Overlay text is key. So yeah, and there are a variety of tools out there for this. You know, if you're going from TV to Twitter and Facebook, and you want to create a GIF, we're a good way to do that. But if you're just creating a GIF off of, say, images on your phone, you know, the new iPhone has live video. And a lot of the social networks, I think pretty soon all of them will support it, but are going to be, I think Facebook has already added support for live videos. So if you take one of those little like short moving picture videos with your iPhone 6S, when you upload it to Facebook, I think you have the option now, I haven't actually tried it myself, but you will have the option to have that live aspect be turned on, so it's got a little moving aspect to it. So this is, it's going to become easier and easier to make these little things.
One of the tools that I've been using, and it's super easy and super cheap, is Camtasia. And I think it's different on Mac. It's called something else on Mac, right? But anyway, Camtasia, which is TechSmith, and they have a Mac version. They have like a PC version, and you can turn like almost any. I mean, it does. You can do screen saves, like, you know, showing people stuff on your website as you navigate through, and also you can do video through it, do the text overlays you're talking about. I think it costs $200, $250, something like that. Really, really powerful piece of software. A lot of nonprofits are using it, frankly, to get their video stuff done. So I really love Camtasia. I'm sure there's other products that some of you in here know about. Maybe we'll do a popcorn here in a minute, kind of hear some. But I think that the tools are getting, I mean, there's even a place online you can go and say, transform, you upload your video to it and it spits out a GIF. So I mean, there's free ones, there's like, really a lot of ways to do this. The key is that we don't end up like MySpace. Sorry, I'm old enough to remember MySpace, and I think we all navigated away from it because it became a big cacophony of GIFs, as I recall. So, I mean, this is an old thing coming back again. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Did you really say you're old enough to remember MySpace? I won't even say.
I know. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is a generational issue. I think that there's stuff that my 11-year-old daughter is totally comfortable with in terms of you know, using GIFs that, you know, I said a moment ago that maybe like the next great romance will be communicated visually, but I'm a written text guy. Like, I love good written communication or good spoken communication. So it does pain me a little bit. Like, my wife and I went out of town on a trip, and we said every so often we send messages to my 11-year-old who's with my parents, and she would write back with like 1 or 2 emojis and like, come on, use words. Yeah. No, I mean, I knew what they meant, but I was like, I want higher resolution information and like connection with you, like, yeah. So I think that I don't think there's anything to worry about there. I think that it'll settle down where it settles down. You know, we can't be nostalgic. I mean, I guess we can be nostalgic, but it's going to go where it's going to go. So, and I think there is something different there. It's, you know, this is sort of like a constant arc of, you know, new stuff, and then everything that's old is new again, and, you know, this stuff repeats itself.
So one of the other questions that I really wanted to bring in before we open it up to the audience, which I will in just 1 second, is we talked about why posting something native is important, and how that works. So you would post it across all the different channels natively and in different formats. Because I mean, if you look at Twitter, for example, they don't allow more than 30 seconds, period. Rightly so. And so how do we get that with, I mean, obviously the live stuff can go on for hours and hours. Like if you go to a blab.im, I mean, you can be on there for hours. It's the Brady Bunch, you know, there's a 4-up. And you can get 4 people on there and get talking, and then, yeah, people won't ever stop. Or in the case of, you know, yeah. So anyway, we will even take over their show if they'll let us, you know what I'm saying? So the question is, how do we, like, decide which places these things fit? You know, how do we take video and use it across all these channels? Do we just take one video and just stick it up there, or do we need to be a little bit more nuanced?
What do you guys do?
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
we basically take what you see on broadcast, you will then see on air. Now there are some things that are online, exactly. You'll see the same. Like I did a story. How many know what Snapstream is, by the way? Are you even familiar? Okay. I describe it as the mother of all DVRs. You know, you can go and they use it. The city of Houston is a client of his, and you know why? We do a story about the mayor, and they want to know how we frame the story. They go to Snapstream and they put in the mayor's name and potholes, for example, and they look at the stories we do, and they either call and bitch at us or no, I'm just kidding. No, at us. Or it helps them frame how to better get the thought out of what they're trying to do. No. But so we are taking what's broadcast, because this is stuff that's already produced, already edited, and then we put it online. Now we do have smaller versions to help promote what's on the air online, either on Twitter or Facebook. That's why I mentioned this Videolicious. Because the whole idea is to cross-promote. All right, a lot of story ideas, we will do a story based on what's trending online. Okay, that's just an idea. And then go and do it on the air because we know it has legs online. All right, so we do a lot of that because it's a great tool to give us a sense of it's instant feedback. So, ooh, now you could look at the story and say, I bet that's hot, but to have it and then there are, you know, all these likes and follows and there's your proof, then you know you can, you know, how many times do you watch a newscast and say, oh, here's a video that's gone viral. Okay, that's why we're doing it. Because it's gone viral, because people are watching. So we primarily are doing broadcast stuff that goes online. The stuff we do on the web usually is a shorter version that helps cross-promote what's on the air. Now, what we will do online is we'll take, because of the time constraints broadcast-wise, you might see a 2-minute interview with somebody on air, but online, we can open it up and make it 6 minutes. You can see more of the interview. Like I've gone to LA and done a couple interviews on the Ellen DeGeneres set with her. Now I have a limited time to put it on air, but online I could do maybe 5 minutes where you can see a little bit more of it. So that's another thing we do.
Yeah, as far as playing to each social network, that's definitely key. You know, goes to my point about not uploading to an online video player like YouTube and then just linking to that from Facebook or Twitter. You definitely want to upload natively to both Twitter and Facebook, and then you want to take advantage of the fact that on Facebook you can have a longer post. Potentially take advantage of it. You don't want to be wordy for the sake of being wordy, obviously, but you also want to tag at each platform. One of our customers, Refinery 29. Anybody follow Refinery 29? So they was it the Emmys that they used our product for? But it was one of these award shows, and they posted, you know, a moment of one of the speeches, and they tagged the celebrity who was giving the speech, and she shared it on her, because they tagged her on Facebook. She shared it out on her page. The video got a couple million views. So you definitely want to take advantage of tagging on each platform. And the length of the video, I think that, you know, there was a study I remember a couple of years ago that showed how on Facebook the average status message lengthened over time. And I think that as an adoption curve, users became more and more comfortable with posting longer status updates on Facebook. And I think that, you know, the idea that, video online has to be short, people snack on video, they don't watch long form video. I'm not sure that's, I mean, you just need to be good at using the medium. And I've seen like these tip hero videos that do recipes. I've seen longer ones too. I've seen ones that will go on for 60 seconds or 90 seconds, but they're engaging. They draw me in. They start out with a really strong image in the front. So, and by the way, the 30-second Twitter limit, you'll see videos on Twitter that are longer. There's another pipeline for native Twitter video that doesn't have that limitation. If you go on Snapstream's Twitter account, you'll see the pinned tweet that we have on there is actually the story that you did on us, and it's like 2.5 minutes. So there is a way to upload video to Twitter and have it be longer. If you don't know how to do that, you just go to create an account on ads.twitter.com, and you can upload a piece of media there that's longer, and then you can tweet that out. And you don't actually have to spend money on ads, but through their ads platform, you can post longer videos. So I don't think that, you know, the Twitter videos have to be short. I think that you could post longer stuff. I think what's more important than the length of the video is the tagging, making sure that you do the tagging, don't be lazy and post the exact same message on both networks and then lose out on tagging, and then just doing a good job of doing visual storytelling and taking advantage of, you know, the fact that we live in a world of autoplay.
So there's a lot of you here, and I'm assuming you have some questions. So I'm going to open up for some questions, and I'm going to take the first hand I see. Does somebody want to ask a question about video? Really? Okay, good. I saw you first.
Yes.
Jeff.
So,
Yes, Jeff.
I see two schools of thought in terms of posting video native to social networks, putting it on YouTube and letting your blogs and you find that when you post a native video to Twitter or Facebook, that it drives engagement beyond that social network to your blog, or something a little more high value for you, or you find that that's kind of a walled garden strategy for increasing engagement like that.
Okay, so I'm going to rephrase for the people that are online. Jeff asked if posting natively helps to drive conversions to other platforms, or if it's just inside the walled garden of those native platforms. I think that's, sorry.
It depends on what it is you're posting. And the reason I say that is because I'm not as technologically, I'm not as well versed. Like you're mentioning things up here I'm not even familiar with, quite frankly. And I'm in the business of television news, and but here's what I can tell you. When I did the commentary that I mentioned, it found its way. It got shared. It wound up on YouTube. It wound up in other people's, it was on Facebook. I was getting calls from the Washington Post. I was getting calls from cable networks. So if there's an interest, it'll find its way. Now, you know, I've had this conversation about, you were explaining to me native video and how it's probably better to go native. But for us to do that, for me to take a story, because what happens, let me see if I can explain it. If I do a story, say on Snapstream, and I put it on my Facebook page, I'm taking the link from KHOU. So KHOU gets all the credit for that. But if I put it on my Facebook page native, then all the credit goes to me. But that process takes longer. So I typically just grab the link and put it on my Facebook page. Because Sherman Chow, who you met, does some of her stuff natively, and then she explained to me how to do it native. I lost track of about the fifth line she was. So if it's compelling and interesting, somehow it just has legs of its own. But I'm sure he can answer. He has a better technical response.
Don't let Len fool you with his claims of being a Luddite. I mean, he was the first one in this whole group that was using Facebook Live video, and he's the only one that probably has millions of views. So, but I think that first of all, I'll repeat it again. You want to upload videos natively to both Twitter and Facebook. Your question was, what happened? You know, does that just serve your interests on those corresponding networks, or what about outside those networks? And I think it's kind of it's a question I haven't really thought about. But you know, I know you can embed Facebook videos. I know you can on any other site, any other blog, just like you can a YouTube video. I know you can embed Twitter videos. That's something that they added. If you go to our blog, you'll see a a copy of the same article that we uploaded to Twitter, and it's embedded in our blog post. There's probably an element here of like who's running the best content delivery network and who's got like the best technology for delivering videos to consumers on mobile and tablet and everything else out there. And I know that I'm not a serious video producer. A lot of our customers are, but YouTube is still we haven't talked about YouTube in all this mix. YouTube hasn't gone away. It's a powerhouse, right? But this new emerging trend is Twitter and Facebook, and it's real. It's not just a fad, and so that's kind of what we've been focused on. But I think I still see a lot of people uploading sort of the permanent video copy of record on their YouTube channel because they have a YouTube strategy. They have hundreds of thousands of subscribers or millions of subscribers there, and they want to make sure that people that have subscribed to their channel get a little notice that says, hey, Jeff's TV show has a new episode.
I think that's really interesting what you're saying, and one of the things that I'm going to put out there is that a lot of us, and I'm going to put myself right in that bucket, use YouTube a lot as a video repository rather than as a platform in and of itself. And of course, it has there's huge stars on YouTube, and there's a huge audience there. I think for business, it's been troublesome for us. So we tend to like put it there as a video repository and share it around everywhere from YouTube. And that's what's changed fundamentally. I think that's changed fundamentally in the last year. That's the shift. It's been. And I'm going to get you first, Shabal, because you went before, then I'll go to you.
For anyone who's business was just about to start, which one would you suggest?
Okay, so for people just starting in video, which platform would they suggest that you use? Oh, like which platform? For live video? Okay, so for live video, which is a different category. See, there's a bunch of different categories of video here. For live video, which network would you suggest people invest into right now?
Periscope. I would say Periscope. Like I said, I've been a long time user of Twitter. Twitter owns Periscope. I think that Periscope is actually more focused on live video. I think that I just used Facebook. I have Facebook Live now on my phone. It's kind of like feels like a straight up copy of Periscope. And otherwise, Twitter is still the default public network, right? They say the world happens on Twitter. I think that quality of Twitter is one of the reasons why I would recommend Periscope. That said, Len used Facebook Live first, and that is also telling. Len has more followers on Facebook than you do on Twitter, and that's often the case. But I've heard that from other customers of ours as well. But then the same customers will tell me that they have more influencers following them on Twitter. So they have you have a lot of just sort of the general public on following and liking on Facebook, but on Twitter you have more influencers. But I would recommend Periscope because I think that we'll see Periscope grow faster because they're super ultra focused on live video, and I'm not so sure that Facebook is with live. I think Facebook can't focus on it as much because it's mixed in with all the other things that they have going on and the private interactions that people have with their friends, and it's going to be hard for them to be all things to all people.
I also think, again, it has to do with who you're trying to reach. Who is it that you actually need to reach? And I think that always is the kernel of it. Like, you have a mass audience, Facebook is definitely the way to go. Whereas if you're trying to reach influencers or whatever, you want to be in something more focused. And then there's, the blast side of things, which I know you've done. And all the marketers are on blast if you're trying to reach marketers. Anyway, in the back.
Yes. I'd like to address the first question about the power of discovery and iteration. What are the best practices really in this already? And then I'm curious about everything you're
So the question was about curation and distribution, really, in large part, or whatever. How do you get people to notice what you're doing, and how do you notice what other people are doing? Or
I'm not sure I get your how do I curate it? What are you talking in terms of editorially? Yeah. Yeah.
All this universe I have to navigate to get to whatever I'm looking for.
Right.
What you see Twitter doing is beginning to curate people's feeds based on their interests. So one of the challenges is you have all this stuff out there that you got to search.
Right.
How do you curate it or filter it or people find their interests so they can find?
Right. That's a good question. Well, part of what we do is part of it is driven by what's trending. I mean, if you look at Twitter and you look on the left and you see what's blowing up, some things I have no idea what's going on. I'll click on and say, what's happening here? But you have, for example, the president talking about gun control. And so in about 5 minutes after he's on, suddenly that topic is up here. So you know there's great interest. So I start quoting, because I'm looking at the news conference, what he's doing. See, for us, the whole goal is engagement. And so we hope people find us, but part of that is driven by the content and the interest, because we're a news organization. Some of that is also, but people also, as I mentioned earlier, they like to see, family stuff. They eat that up because it's like a side of you. They don't, you see me do the news all buttoned up, because there's not really a lot of, that arena doesn't allow me to show too much personality. On occasion, too. But online, you have these moments where you can do it. So I hope I'm answering your question.
You are I'm very interested in the best practices.
Yeah, I bet Rakesh can answer that better because we are. What I find is that you look for ways to get people to like, and there are a lot of different ways to do that. I'll give you an example. Like I said, if I put something family related on, I would say, oh my God, 5 people killed on Montrose in West Alabama today. I might get five likes and 2 comments. If I put, I don't know, my daughter and I, like we did last time, but my wife wouldn't let me post the video. She's trying to teach me how to keep up with her on the piano. I don't play the piano. And I'm just doing my little finger thing, but we're doing a song. Now, if I had posted that, it'd go crazy. I mean, it's just, Cheetah Johnson says, boo, on Facebook, Twitter, 500 likes. It is so annoying. I have to stab myself on to get 50 likes. Can somebody please explain that to me? No, I'm just kidding. Is it her or is it the name? Which is it? It's both, right? Yes, yes. All right. I'm sorry.
So I want to start off by saying I don't recommend you're stabbing yourself on video to get more views. Okay? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. But that's kind of the question. It's like, how do I get more views to my stuff? And I think what I'm hearing from what Len is saying, and I think is true, is you have to experiment a little bit. I don't think there are any tricks, Like I don't think there's any like, oh, do this to your video and it'll get more views on Facebook or on Twitter. I think that you just have to make the videos. I think hustle is important also in terms of distributing the video. I think you make connections and you know, you appeal to people's interests, you pitch what you make to other people in hopes that they might share it. But, you know, you got to do that in a way that makes sense. I mean, you can't, like, take a mercenary approach to something like that, because, I mean, you're just gonna, your goodwill will evaporate, and, you know, it's got to make sense. You know, it's like any good pitch. You have to make it effectively, and you got to ultimately do good visual storytelling. And, you know, we live in a world today where it's amazing, but good videos find an audience. And I really believe that. I think that that's true. You know, maybe you have to pay money to Facebook so your good video finds an audience, right? Like that's maybe a footnote to that comment. But no, I think that you have, you know, you don't have to be at a TV station now to get an audience. So that's kind of the amazing thing is, you know, anybody can hit share on your video. And so you have to just keep at it. If that's your goal, keep at it until you figure out the formula to somebody hitting share on your video.
I would say that's true too, because I found with the videos that we've done in different clients and stuff, sometimes they are complete duds and nobody looks at them or touches them, and then sometimes they go crazy. The ones you think that you don't think that one would go crazy might go crazy. So I think experimentation is a huge part of what we have to do, and that's what's so important about the native video too that we were talking about earlier, is that, you know, some of these networks give priority to native. And that's part of the distribution strategy, right? Which is, you know, how do I get Facebook to share my stuff out? Well, you do that because if you put it up natively, then Facebook's going to do it. I mean, you definitely want to still put it on YouTube. You want to put it on all these channels and have a strategy for each one. It gets a little overwhelming sometimes, so the feeling of how do I, you know, do this huge distribution strategy across all these different touch points. Is there another question out there? Sorry. I'm sorry. Brian? What is a great video simple editing tool? I say Camtasia, but you say? Survey says.
But, you know, when I put video on, it's my cell phone because it's easy. We have an app called Videolicious that is, I haven't used it that much, but the idea is, if I, for example, I'm doing a story, I can promote that story in 30 seconds and put it on Twitter or Facebook, and then I can go and edit according. Like I did a story, say, on a popular food truck at the University of Houston, flipping burger, and so I took some pictures of the food. I took some pictures of me giving, you know, video. Then I can go and I can edit it. I couldn't tell you the best edit option. But one of our photographers was here because they do it every day, not on air and online. They could tell you what would be easiest, but I couldn't tell you.
Before just well, I do. It's not really my idea. I have like about how many experts in this room today? I know a lot of you use video editing tools. So I would ask that if you're on Twitter right now to go and put your 1 or 2 favorite video editing tools and video tools and tag it with the social media breakfast hashtag, and then I will have my team pull them all together and share them. So if you don't mind doing that, we can get the entire brain trust of this room, which I think is a huge brain trust. But in that, do you have one that you love? Or not?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't do a lot of video editing myself. I think I know Rachel, who's on our marketing team, that uses Camtasia sometimes, but I see it amongst our customers for uploading web videos. I see a lot of Adobe Premiere, so they can add graphics onto it, and that seems to be a popular, you know, kind of mass market, but not like super high-end choice. Final Cut Pro. If I was doing it, I would like start out looking at iMovie. I'd also look for apps on my phone. Like, you want to find simple. I'm sure there even iOS's built-in editing for video is brilliant. Like how you can drag that little yellow box. It's very simple, right? Like you can't overlay text and you can't do multi-clips. It's like a single clip, but it's still pretty advanced. So we didn't talk about Snapchat at all, and I feel like that's like I don't have a ton of experience with it, but I've kind of immersed myself in that a little bit. Is it okay if we talk about Snapchat? Do you use Snapchat? How many people here raise their hands? Like let's say, regularly use Snapchat. Like it's like a staple for them. 5, 6, 7. You know, for the longest time, I didn't use Snapchat because I thought it was weird for a 40-year-old guy to be on Snapchat. But it's a communication tool like any other. And there's some amazing stuff happening on Snapchat with respect to video. It seems like they have lowered the bar, the friction for everyday people to upload video and share it with people. They've done something very clever in how they designed their app. There's this DJ. How do you pronounce his name? DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled, right? He's huge on Snapchat. There's also this. Has anybody seen this plastic surgeon in LA? Yeah, it's gross. It's totally gross. But the guy has he has 1 million followers on Snapchat or something. It's insane. But yeah, he does he's literally he does Snapchats of plastic surgeries that he does in Los Angeles. I'm serious. It's real life TikTok. I mean, and the guy is he plays rock music in the background while he's doing these things, and people go nuts over it. It's really weird. And I mean, in a lot of ways, when I look at technology trends that are emerging, it's the weird stuff that I don't get that I like to pay the most attention to. And I consider it weird, but people think Twitter is for old people. People think that Facebook is for old people. So Snapchat is kind of this whole other thing. And I'm just surprised when I actually got immersed in the world of Snapchat. There are 2 U of H grads here locally that are Snapchat geniuses. They built this Snapchat analytics business. Seriously, they'd be great to have the little company is called Blurdiz, Blurdiz, Timur and Hamza. But they kind of got me into this and got me learning about this. And there's actually, I thought Snapchat was one-to-one communication, but there's the one-to-many aspect to it. And there's Snapchat stories. And it's surprising to me that this stuff has flourished. There's no the discovery mechanism for people that are Snapchatters is absent. There's no directory, right? It's purely person to person. So anyway, you don't do Snapchat. Does anybody at KHOU do Snapchat? Tell us more. Yeah.
Next time I will bring her. No, there are people. People use Snapchat. By the way, define old. Old people.
No, I'm saying that I use Twitter. Yeah. So no. I mean, trust me. I think Twitter is the cutting edge, but it's not, right? It's. I mean, young people don't necessarily regard it as the hot place.
How many of you are on Twitter, by the way? How many of you are on Facebook? How many of you have your phones and whatever with you right now? Okay. I'm just asking. Okay, Len Cannon, KHOU on Facebook. Go and like it now. Go and like it now. This is how you keep up with the Cheetah Johnsons of the world. Or the Lily James. She's another ubiquitous online. They do a picture of themselves smiling, all done up, 1,000 likes. 1,000 likes. I'm just kidding. Like me on Twitter as well, but do that. No, seriously, it's great for me. It keeps first and foremost. And this is an easy, I didn't think about this. I go to all these events, and one day the light went on. Why don't you ask why you're here? You're slaving on, what should I post to get people to ask when you're out? You got 1,000 people, ask. Don't ask me. I've started to do it, and now I have no shame, so I'm sorry.
We pay with the like economy at the social media breakfast in Houston.
Yes.
So if anybody wants to go find his page and put it out on the stream, and we'll all like it, right? We'll all like it because we don't pay here, so it's about the best we can do. That cup of coffee, I can do that too. Yeah, absolutely. We're kind of getting to the end here, so I will let you add one thing, and then that's probably where we're at.
So you know, I spent some of my time helping, you know, cultivate and build the startup community and the tech community in Houston. And one of my, we're a very spread out city geographically, and also, like, I look around the room, I don't know I've never met 95% of the people in this room. We're also disconnected, I think, somewhat socially, maybe because we're geographically so spread out. But like this thing that Len is saying, like, follow each other and like each other's stuff, you know, a like is like a high five. It's like, hey, I read your thing and I found it interesting. I believe that this is one of the things that we can do to build our community, to have more connections. Like, I have met so many people through Twitter specifically, because they replied to something that I wrote, or I went and clicked on their feed, and like I looked at it and I'm like, hey, this person's really smart and interesting. So I really encourage you guys to use Twitter as a way to connect with people. I think that more so than other cities, Houston can use this as like a core tool to build, you know, a community of marketers, smart, cutting-edge marketers in Houston, for example.
I totally agree, and you know, I'm kind of building a list of you, so I'll make sure that as you guys tweet with us and the KHOU, actually you get added to a list on my Twitter page. So you can actually go there, and some of that may be some spam. I'll have to go back and weed some of it out. But you can go through that and see who you're following and who you're not following right away. Like, you can go on my Twitter feed right now and go to the lists and look there. And anybody that has been mentioned or does KHOU, I have IFTTT, one of the tools we've talked about here, automatically put you on that list. So I hope you guys will use that as a resource, and definitely like our guests' pages and their company pages. Certainly SnapScreen is so interesting to me, because if you have like a bigger company, you definitely should be looking at that. And I love how you said that it's used, which is really as a media monitoring solution as well, which is interesting, you know, for a lot of people here. Huh?
It's comedy material.
Oh, it's comedy material, and for comedy. So yeah, if you want to make fun of, like, you know, Len on TV, get SnapStream. And then I'm sorry, okay. I thought that's where we were going with that. I guess not. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming and sharing your knowledge with us today. Could you give them a big hand, everyone, please? So we're going to shut down goodbye on the internet there. And in the meanwhile, we always have a jobs moment here. So I do want to make sure we do that today, because it's a new year, and I'm sure some of you are looking for jobs. Who here has a job to get that they're looking to fill right now? Okay, come up here and tell a little bit